Hello, my fabulous peeps. Today is Monday and it's Mini Monday Madness, and we're painting a mini polar bear on a little shelf of ice and looking at the Aurora Borealis. I teach you how to draw this, so don't freak out. But if you're a Patreon member, I have a traceable there for you to go trace and use for your tutorial. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. Don't forget to hit the bell notification button to know my tutorials are up. Also, if you're not a Patreon member, hit the link to join if you want to join. I have traceables that go with my YouTube channel. I have ad-free videos on my Patreon, and on Thursdays I give exclusive tutorials for the mid-tier and up. So that link is in my about page and in the description box here. So without further ado, let's get started. All right. Okay, to start, I'm going to teach you how to draw the polar bear, but if you're a Patreon member, you can download the traceable here. Very easy access. So it's a little bit, slow the drawing down. I'm going to go over it slowly. So you're going to take a curved line and go down like this, right, for his head. And then you're going to bring it just like a little bump at a bump. So you're going to go bump up and bump for the head. That's a little big, but... And then you're going to come down for his body and his little leg, a little round here and here. And then you have his little legs here and here. And then you just do a little half circle for his ear, top of the eye, mouth, nose. It might be easier to go the opposite way. Just like start with the half bump here, then curve it down, then go up, and then go down, curve, curve, like that, and the little legs. And then you're going to curve from the leg up to the nose. Again, nose. This bump is a little too big, so you might just make it a little bit smaller. Then the ear and the eye. That one's a little goofy, but you kind of just tweak it. And then for the ice cap, next to him, it's just a line going like this, swiggle, swiggle back, right? That's simple. You put the line down here, and then connect it to that, following the line that it's curved, like that, down, down, down. So the ice is really easy. I mean, you can make ice any way you want. It's just making a line going like this. Oh, the trick is just to pull the line down and then curve it in, curve it in. That's the ice. And like I said, the polar bear, you're just going to have to practice a little bit. Just going to maybe you start like this, like a curved line like this. Pull it in for the feet, make the little feet, and then you swoop that up. And then you're going to do a little bump here for the head, go down and up. He's a little goofy in this one, and then a little ear. So just practice drawing that. Like I said, I kind of think of it as like a rounded triangle. Start with that, and then you can kind of bump it out, right? Add the legs, curve it in, and then add a little bump here, just like that. And you got the little guy. All right. So let's go over the rest of the supplies. 3" by 3". Ours is 100% cold pressed cotton paper, taped down on this piece of cardboard with Scotch tape. I use masking fluid on the polar bear because I'm going to paint like that Aurora Borealis kind of like scenario behind him, and I want it to look nice and pretty, and I don't want to like have these little lines kind of where I have to stop if I didn't have masking fluid. But if you don't have it, you just kind of manipulate it that way. So we're going to work on the sky and then the water. And the sky is going to be pretty simple, wet on wet kind of scenario. Like I said, we're going to do that kind of Aurora Borealis. So it's like that green, the blue. So I'm going to mix up some greens and some blues. So I have my olive green here. I'm going to make it brighter by adding cadmium yellow deep. I want this bright chartreusey kind of green, really bright. I have my Prussian blue. Get that out like that. I have my peacock here too. I might add a touch of like Paynes gray to my Prussian blue. I don't want it so bright. Make a really good deep dark blue. Okay. So we're going to take the green first. I'm using a grumbacher 10, just a simple kind of rounded type brush. You can use whatever brush works for you. I don't even have to use this brush. And we're going to take the green. I actually want it more aqua. So I'm going to take that green and add a little of this peacock blue. Get a little more aqua-y blue. And dab my paper towel, see if I like the color. I really want this bright, bright greenish blue. Just trying to mix the color I like. Yeah. Okay, I think it's just going to work that way. Okay, so once you get the bright green that you like, you can go in and start painting the greens. So basically we're going to take this green and we're going to do like these kind of like stripes going upward. Just like this. I'm not getting it really loose with water here. Gonna go do these stripes kind of going upward. And I'm going to add some water next to it. And then I'm lifting it up at the same time. I know that makes no sense, but I'm adding water here next to it. And I'll lift it up, and I'm going to add the blue that I have right next to that. See, going down like this. Because I want it to kind of bleed into each other a little bit. And then I'm going to go add the blue down again. And then I'm going to add the blue over here. I'm going to get this wet. The blue. See the deep blue? Getting it wet. Wet on dry here. Going just like that. And you can add that deeper color in here again. It's kind of tricky. You just kind of play with putting the color in. Get the deeper color again. In here. I'll take my brush, I'll clean it off with water, and I'll lift up the paint in here again, and I'll add my green back. I'm trying to blend it at the same time putting in the green. Go back and add that green. You can kind of take some paint out here too. Whoosh. Lifting it up with the brush and then hitting that paper towel. And go back in and add some green. Get some really bright green in there. If you want to wiggle it too, it's kind of like really stripy. It might look more natural. Little wiggles. Just like that. I'm getting some concentrated green and I'm kind of wiggling it. So it's not going to be perfect. You know, not even mine looks that perfect. Just wiggle again. Lifting up some paint. And you can go back in and add some of that blue again. Right underneath that green. I'm going to grab some dark blue and wiggle it. This is kind of like a fun little finessing here. Just kind of wiggling the paint. Getting concentrated watercolor here. See? It's really dark. And just wiggling it like that. And then we go in here. And then we can put some more dark color down here. Kind of looks like a starburst in a way, but you can have it going this way and that way. There's different ways to do the Aurora Borealis. I mean, everybody has their own technique. I'm going to lift up a little bit of paint here. Just lifting it with the brush. Adding a little green in here too. I'm playing around with how it looks, kind of like a starburst, which is fine, but I kind of want to add it a little more natural looking. So I'm doing green in here. It's looking a little crazy. I'd like to have a little peacock in there, so I'm going to grab some of this peacock blue. You could have put like the purples in there too. I'm going to brighten it up. The peacock. Kind of take away some of that green, make it more turquoise. So just play around with it. Like it can go like a starburst, or it could be more like up and down. I like putting the dark blue right next to the lighter turquoisey green. Just kind of enhances it. Like I said, do more of a wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. So we're going to let that dry once you play around with all that. Aurora Borealis. We can start to work on the bottom here of the ice, where the ice is meeting the ocean, because we're going to leave this white line here, like where there was snow from the other part of the land. So we can grab some of our blue. Start painting this. We don't need to masking the ice. I'm just going to go right here and paint around it with this blue. I'm going to add more darker colors, but I'm just going to go in here and paint this. And again, don't hit that white area. Oops, picked the field quick. Oh, I painted on my ice. I have to lift it up that real quick. See, mistakes happen. Let that dry a bit. Okay, while that side's drying a bit, I'm going to go in and grab some darker paint. I'm going to mix some blackish gray with this blue, get it really deep and dark, and put that right in here. And under here. I didn't want to get it in every area, I probably should have used a smaller brush, and then I probably would have made a big mistake slapping that paint right next to the ice cap. But, you know, mistakes happen. And don't beat yourself up. So I kind of want to keep it lighter here on the edge and just darker where it meets the ice. I'm going to start to grab my Princeton number 8 long round, get rid of that grumbacher. Going to manipulate some of the paint here, just lifting up. See that? So it's dark up here, but not so much down below. Okay, so now it's pretty damn wet with all this paint. We're going to let it dry a bit. We can go into the ice here and add some nice blue. I'm going to lift up all this dark paint that I don't need. I'm going to zoom in so you can see better. And this would be good to do while he's still got the masking fluid on him. Gonna grab some of my magenta. Gonna make like a ultramarine kind of color. I always tap it on the paper towel because I like to see the color tone, if I like it or not. I might want a lighter color, so I'm gonna add a little more peacock. Okay, so I'm just gonna take some really light, loose watercolor that's blue and put it underneath him, because he's kind of creating the shadow. And this is easier to do when you have the masking fluid on, right? As opposed to not. I mean, you can still do without it, but this is 10 times easier. And where it meets the bottom of him, get it even darker, just tap in a teeny bit of dark paint just like that with the tip of the brush. Just a little bit. It's going to bleed a little bit, and then you can still go in even darker still if you want, and it'll still bleed. Again, with this light blue, we're going to be, well, it's still wet over here. I'm going to wait till this dries a bit, but I'm going to take my brush, take off the paint, and kind of push this paint out here a little bit, still keeping that white edge of the ice. Just going to lift this up a little bit, and then just touch it a little bit on the edge here. Okay, so we're going to let this whole thing dry. I'm going to lift up the masking fluid and work on the polar bear. Okay, it's all dry. I'll take my rubber cement pickup and I will lift up the polar bear masking fluid. And he's revealed. We'll have to go in and do some shadowing so he doesn't look like this white blob. See how much easier it was to paint the background like that? So now we're just going to go in and tweak with the ice and the polar bear. Now I've basically lost his sketch lifting up with the rubber cement pickup, so I'm just going to go back in and put in where his little eyes and ears and mouth are. There we go. So I'm going to grab that light blue again. I'm going to go into the crevice of the ice here. It's going to be lighter. It's not going to be white. Like a pale blue. Same thing here on the edge. We get a nice light blue, pale blue. That's why we painted that darker blue around it. And here, kind of mistake, didn't make a big deal after all, because I kind of have to make that same color, right? And then really close to like the edge in here, get a little bit darker, teeny bit with your brush, the shadow of it, especially in the crevice where it's kind of curving into the ice in here. Get it a little bit darker, grab some darker paint. And you can just kind of take some of that dark paint and put on the edge of this part in the front. And you go back in and tweak the shadow of him on the ice. I'm adding a little darker paint, as you see. Okay, so you can use blues and grays for his body. I might grab some grays at this point. It's looking very blue. I have a bunch of different grays over here. Just really pale. And I'm just going to take my tip of my brush and the outline we made where his legs go. I'm just going to go on there and put some color in there. Really pale. This is not going to be like a really serious looking polar bear. We're just going to make it really cute. I'm just going to go in, keep adding that gray, and then here a little bit in his ear, and of course the simple eye and mouth. So I have a little, use a small brush if you can't manipulate with this brush. And there's the nose and a little mouth. A happy guy. Get a little darker on the ear, and you can just play around with putting a little darker colors where the legs meet. Just a teeny bit darker gray. See, just adding a little wash on the edges. This is really going to be like a, and see how I'm just holding the brush kind of sideways and pushing the paint like this. So it's really washed in here. It's like a slight tone. especially kind of down here because he's going to be kind of shadowed. So it's just like this pale bluish gray color, and then in here where the legs meet. Really simple like that. I'll take some water on my brush and then kind of take some of that paint and then lift it up too. Mush it around and then lift it. There. So the background might seem a little clunky, just like a straight white line. You can go in and grab some of your deeper blue again and just kind of like wiggle it so it doesn't look like this perfect white line of the land that's over there. Just gonna take some of my darker paint, wiggle it so it's not perfect. I even got rid of the white line right there. That's not a problem. So that's kind of pretty much it. I mean, you can go in and add, again, just a little bit darker in here in the crevices of the ice, so it looks a little more realistic. You might want to take a little bit of like white gouache. I'm gonna clean up my brush. On the tip of the brush, you can make little streaks so it's like ice. Icy, you know, icy water. Don't overdo it. That one kind of, don't like that one. Kind of wash it out. Now I wouldn't, if you wanted to add snow, you can add snow, but basically this is just a polar bear with the Aurora Borealis. I can't even say that stinking word. I've never seen it. I have friends who have. So I'm going back in with my brush. I'm just going to add little tweaks. Just teeny little marks. That way it looks like a little fur. See, I'm just dapping this little, going a little smaller so you can see. Tap, 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 tap. Little taps. Then it seems more like a furry kind of polar bear. Just a couple little tweaks of a darker gray. And again, it dries, watercolor dries pretty light, so I'm going to go back in and I'm going to get that dark crevice. Just gives it more dramatic effect on the ice. And you can add a little bit of wash of blue. Just kind of here also. Oops. There we go. So that's kind of it. Gonna lift up the tape to reveal our cutie tootie. There he is, the polar bear looking, smiling up at the Aurora Borealis, having fun on a little ice melt. And like I said, you can go in and tweak. You want to add even deeper, darker tones back here. I'm gonna clean up my brush. Just, you know, punch it up a little bit. But I kind of like that, and maybe a little bit down here because that ice got a little too close. There we go. But I think it looks cute. This is pretty simple. You're just masking the polar bear and you're just kind of washing in lightly colors. The ice cap is pretty simple. So I hope you guys enjoy this mini Monday Madness. I thought I'd do something different. I don't know. People have been enjoying the bear, so I thought I'd try another polar bear. And I like the background. It's kind of fun. And then you don't have to do like the sprays going this way. You could have them wiggle like this, horizontal. They have like a lot of Aurora Borealis look like that also. I just decided to do it this way. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. Don't forget to hit the bell notification button to know my tutorial's up. Like I said, if you're a Patreon member, you can download that traceable. Otherwise, I showed you how to draw it. And that's it. I hope you have a great day. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon.